Welcome to Emotions and Eating with Nicola Beer. Nicola controlled her feelings using food for 25 years, so she knows how draining it is to be constantly thinking about or acting out with food. Thankfully, having made an amazing breakthrough in her recovery, her mission became about helping others escape the unsatisfying cycle of frustration and self-medication with food. Nicola is determined to help you find your inner strength so you can be healthy, gain confidence, feel great, and be at peace with yourself and food.
Hi and welcome. I'm so happy you're here. My name is Nicola Beer and I'm going to be talking to you today about how to improve mental well-being for greater happiness. The reason I wanted to talk about mental well-being is because it affects every single area of our lives. Our romantic relationships, family relationships, work relationships, and also our relationship to food, alcohol, and other substances. Mental well-being is pivotal to being happy. And there's so much on happiness these days, or what you need to do to be successful, and very little on what actually mental well-being is. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So the World Health Organization defines mental well-being as a state of mind in which an individual is able to realize his or her own abilities, cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. What a statement. I mean, it's a bit confusing because it's so long and it's got so much in it. So is this really helpful? Well, it can be if we break it down. So let's break it down. And this time I'm going to ask you questions. And you can answer the questions for yourself, or you can answer the questions if you have somebody in your mind at the moment that you perhaps feel is not displaying signs of strong mental well-being and you want to help them. Or you can answer for both of you as I ask you these questions. So the first one is, do you realise your own abilities? The second is, are you able to cope with the normal stresses of life? Can you cope with stress? The next is, can you work productively and fruitfully? Now, fruitfully is a bit of a funny word, isn't it? But can you work productively? And if you can't, then often, in my experience, there's a lot of resentment, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of stress. Or these days, I think more and more people are asking me for hypnotherapy for the ability to focus, the ability to concentrate. And I think it's because we are so addicted to screens and there's so much information and we're constantly needing to feed our minds with new stimulation that people have actually forgotten how to concentrate on something. The next is, are you able to make a contribution to your community? And are you making a contribution to your community? So this is what they are saying that leads to mental well-being. So if you answered yes to these, then you would meet the criteria of mental well-being according to the World Health Organization. Many of the women and men I work with to save their marriage on their own, or to lose weight and feel better about themselves, are definitely able to do these things. Yet they're not doing those things. They're capable, but they're not. And often this can be because of low self-esteem, too much stress and anxiety. And in fact, this is how I became an expert in anxiety treatment. Because so many people that I was helping with food, or so many people that I was helping save their marriage, were having extreme levels of anxiety, especially after affairs or any kind of lack of trust and betrayal. So with all my one-to-one programs, and even the couple ones, the aim is to generally boost someone's confidence and someone's happiness and mental well-being more generally. Because I really stand by this. You cannot have a happy life and a happy marriage if you do not respect and look after yourself. And you can't have a happy marriage if you're not happy. That is certain. And this kind of ties in with Tony Robbins and the 6 human needs, if you've heard that. It's a really good description of the human needs that we all share. And this comes into the mental well-being as well, because he argues that in order to be fulfilled in life, we need to meet the needs of the spirit, not just the personality. And the two spirit needs are the need to be growing and the need to be contributing. And anything in life that doesn't grow dies. That's the law of nature. So we need to be constantly growing and constantly improving and constantly wanting more. There's nothing wrong with desiring more for yourself, more for your growth, more for your life. Everybody desires. It's healthy. It's not enough to be consuming and consuming. On a spirit level, we need more. And a lot of people that I work with will say they had all these sort of material goals, and when they got there, they thought, is this all there is? And having the contribution and the growth is things that we can change. So having had the privilege of supporting thousands of people now get happier and happier, to feel free, living their purpose inside and outside of their relationships, there are 3 key elements to mental well-being that I focus on, that I think are the most important, and time again it's been proven that these 3 are the most important. So I'm going to share these 3 with you and see if they're happening for you right now. See if there's an area that you might want to improve. See if your partner has this, if you're in a relationship at the moment, and what you can both do together to grow and to give each other and support each other to have mental well-being. The first is to accept yourself and others. We really need to accept ourselves, our flaws, our strengths and weaknesses, without putting ourselves down or punishing ourselves. It's about accepting the way that we look, the way that we are. Our mental health and relationships can be a disaster if we cannot accept ourselves. And there's a huge difference between improving yourself and criticizing yourself. Often in the Stop Emotional Eating counselling and hypnotherapy, I do this, and it includes accepting that there is no perfect way to eat, or there is no perfect relationship with food. The only perfection when it comes to food is listening to your body and tuning into your body needs at the time. There's no set rules to follow, no set diet, things like that. And this is where people slip up, because if they don't hit this exact, precise rule or plan that they have, they feel guilty. And then with this guilt can cause somebody to overeat. Because some days we eat more and some days we eat less. And that's okay. And in the marriage work that I do, it's accepting that some days you or your partner may snap at each other and say things in a hurtful way when we're hurting, when we're tired, when we're hungry, when we're lonely. And that's okay. Self-acceptance is essential to a happy, well-lived life. If you support yourself, if you're your own champion, you feel good. And often I work with people just on this at the beginning, because it's the foundation for everything. Loving yourself. Because when you love yourself, when you approve of yourself, when you accept yourself, everything else changes. People look good, they feel good, and they become more attractive. And it often is the thing that can really shift romantic relationships. As overall, the more positive energy we have in our life, the more positive energy we're going to be able to create in our homes and give to others. So are you critical of yourself? Can you start to be kinder to yourself? The first way to love yourself is to stop criticizing yourself, to accept who you are and to praise yourself. I also like to give gratitude to myself, because it's well documented the benefits of a grateful mind, a grateful heart, doing a gratitude diary. Some people will share 3 things that they're grateful for with a loved one every day. I think that's a lovely thing to do. But how many times when you're saying what you're grateful for, do they include things that you're grateful to yourself for? Most people will tell me none. And so being grateful to ourselves is also a part of that. So the next one for mental well-being is managing your emotions. This is the ability to manage your emotions. So what does this mean, managing emotions? It means recognizing what you are feeling, acknowledging what you are feeling, and then dealing with it in a healthy way. It's a skill to start managing your emotions. I get those I work with to practice pausing, breathing, and asking themselves, what energy do I want to bring into the day? What energy do I want to create in my office, in my home, in my car? Because the energy that we create and give on to others affects how the whole day, week, month, even year goes. So let's talk about the three main emotions that come up. Anger. Do you fly off the handle with anger? Anger is a natural and normal emotion to experience. We all get angry and irritated from time to time. If it hurts you and your relationship though, managing it in a more effective way may be something you choose to consider. Traditional anger management courses can offer some benefits, but usually I don't think they go deep enough at all. As all people know that they don't want to lash out, often they know that they don't want to destroy their loved ones with words, to smash things up, to get angry and feel horrible, hot inside. And a lot of the people don't want to carry resentment with them because it doesn't feel good to be hating somebody else or hating yourself or frustrated. So talking about releasing anger in the traditional anger management therapy often isn't enough. It's like, yeah, I know I don't want to do this, but I'm doing it. And this is often because it's an unconscious pattern which just keeps coming up again and again and again. And to remove that trigger, to remove that pattern, we need to work with the subconscious mind. So that's anger. And everything can be changed, and that's the beauty of working with the subconscious mind. That's the beauty of really good therapy that tackles both elements. We don't have to put up with the status quo. If we're ready, if we're willing to try something new, if we're willing to invest in ourselves, we can change it. The next is anxiety. Are you living in fear? Anxiety is basically unknown fear. So you're not sure what the fear is and whether it's really going to happen, but it's worrying about the future. Have you found yourself feeling worried and anxious about things where you cannot seem to switch it off? Again, I'm seeing more and more people with anxiety, as I mentioned at the beginning these days, and I'm certain that it's got a link to the amount of interaction we have with technology. Obviously, technology is amazing. It's really helped us grow, and we wouldn't be where we are today without it. However, if we are constantly bombarded with adverts and scrolling, and this affects people's attention. This creates a lot of anxiety. People are always on high alert. They're always watching something, either their phone or TV or their laptop, until they go to bed. And then they don't sleep properly. And it's just people are on that kind of high alert. And then often people get addicted to it. The amount of times people say, if I'm down without my email, I feel lonely. I like getting emails asking me for things. Makes me feel important. Makes me feel needed. I like checking social media. I like seeing what everyone else is doing. I like getting likes on my posts or comments on my posts. So people get addicted to these behaviours. Not surprisingly, that I went to a conference and I was told that Facebook hires casino workers from Las Vegas to make it addictive, to create Instagram and Facebook, to have that gambling kind of high. So it's no wonder. And a lot of people, I believe, are getting anxious that they're not living the best life that they can live, anxious that they're not doing what other people are doing, anxious because they're such on high alert and there's so much information coming to them. So giving yourself a break. And with anxiety, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I don't give any medication. With anxiety, I look at talking through all the fears and coming up with solutions against them all. And I look at doing calming meditations, calm the subconscious mind, because again, it's the subconscious mind that's sort of bringing up these patterns. A lot of anxiety I also deal with has to do, as I mentioned earlier, with cheating, worrying if a partner is cheating on you. I've had men and women share with me that this drives them absolutely crazy and they can't switch it off. And again, really helping the mind to calm this is important. I've had